Okay, we are back in TYBC Zoology, Semester 1, paper number 4, Environmental Biology class. We were discussing about the air pollutions and different pollutants responsible for air pollutions. In that, we just had discussion on the ozone. Now, different sources, outdoor sources of air pollutions. Transportation, that is again the transportation and industry, and intentional forest fire is also a high reason for the source of air pollutions. So two main sources are transportation and industry. So industrial processes and fuel combustions, except in vehicles and other reasons for burning of these fossil fuels or creating the smoke and everything, and rest is transportations. So this transportation is really a very major reason of air pollution. So already I just told that if we stop using fossil fuel for our transportation, we will have very healthy air in our surrounding. So the main culprit of air pollution is a fossil fuel. So sometime intentional forest fire around Delhi city in Haryana region. Many farmers, they just make a fire after cropping. They burn the remaining part in their field, and that smoke contribute in heavily formation of smog in a Delhi city, which you may have seen in many news. Okay, so urban air pollution, so photochemical smog. Here they have given the example of that Los Angeles below, that brownish orange haze formed by chemical reaction involving sunlight, nitrogen oxide and hydrocarbons. Okay, you can see here this what we say the photochemical smog means. A brownish orange tinge of a color here at the horizon and the sunlight. That brownish color is because of presence of all these nitrogen oxide hydrocarbons and their internal reactions because, along with the sunlight. This smogging happens. The formation of photochemical smoke, how it forms. Okay, so just for your knowledge, we'll see here how this photochemical smog forms and remains suspended over the cities. So sources of pollutant or basic sources are from the vehicle exhaust, that is a nitric nitric oxides, then carbon dioxides and hydrocarbon coming from the industries. This is a primary, these are the primary sources, primary pollutants. Okay, there they forms reactions with the oxygen molecule, water molecules and presence of sunlight, and that forms the secondary pollutants. When they come in contact with the, again in presence of solar energy, they form these chemicals, nitric acids, peroxyacyl nitrate, formaldehyde and other aldehydes, and the ozone. All these are formed in a troposphere, very near to the earth soil. So this layer get a yellowish brown color tinge to the air in presence of sunlight. Because of these gases, it all looks like yellow brown color, and we do not have a clear vision in this layer. So this they experience the problem experience with color photochemical smog problem is during the aeroplane flight. Effect of air pollutions. Now up till now we have seen different pollutant responsible for air pollution, that primary pollutant and secondary pollutants, and some terms like what is a suspended particulate matter, what is a photochemical smog, what is a volcanic smog, what is a smog means. Now we'll see what is the effect of air pollution. A low level exposure cause irritations in eyes and cause inflammations of respiratory tract that we experience when we get caught into the heavy traffic jam because of continuous standing running cars. They emits that exhaust and that leads to the irritations in eye and respiratory distress. That that can develop into the chronic respiratory disease. But if you remain continuously exposed to such heavy traffic with lot of car exhaust, you will have a chronic respiratory diseases. Now here the health effect of several major air pollutant is given. A name of a pollutants, to the source and effect. So here we'll just read it and we'll discuss this effect because we already seen the sources and the pollutants. So particulate matter sources is this constructions, agriculture, plant, industries, everything. And what effect it cause? The aggravate respiratory illness. Long-term exposure may cause increased incidence of chronic conditions such as bronchitis, linked to heart diseases, suppress immune system, some particles and such a heavy metal and organic chemicals may cause cancers or other tissue damages. Okay, just I remember one point that during lockdown, you many of you have experienced the clean air in a city. Visibility of horizons from the your terrace is more. You find that every air around us was very clean and transparent and visibility was very high. That is because there were no vehicle on the roads and many more industries were shut down. So that is what is the air pollution and impact you have seen experienced. Now everything is started after lockdown. Now everything has started. Many vehicles are on road. Industries have started emitting that pollutants. Now you again experience the same thing, or you check your old photographs with the new one, you will find what we say about the smog. Smog reduces the visibility over the city's sky. Okay, so come back to the point here, effect of air pollution because of nitrogen oxides, motor vehicles, industries, heavily fertilized farmlands, that is a source of nitrogen oxides that cause us effect like irritate respiratory tract, aggravate respiratory conditions, asthma, chronic bronchitis. Naturally, air pollutions cause more damages to the lungs, respiratory system, eyes, and skin and the hair. Sulfur dioxides, electric power plants and other industries produce this pollutant and they cause irritations in respiratory tract, same effect on particulate matters like that. Carbon monoxides come from the motor vehicle industries, fireplaces that reduces blood's ability to transport oxygen. They reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of RBCs. It leads to the headache and fatigue and lower levels and mental impairments and that are at high levels. So if you continuously get exposed to the high concentration of monoxides, you will die and you will go in coma. Apart that ozone is formed in the atmosphere, that is a secondary air pollutant formed because of combination of all these above pollutants that cause irritate irritate respiratory tracts, produce chest discomfort, aggravate respiratory conditions, asthma and chronic bronchitis. Health effect on air pollution, sulfur dioxide particulate matter. So that table is again here elaborated in nitrogen oxide cause air restrictions, binds with this carbon monoxide with the air in blood hemoglobin, reduce the transport capacity, cause headache, fatigue, ozone cause burning eyes, coughing, chest discomfort. In children's, the greater health threat to children than adults, air pollution can restrict lung development and children breathe more often than adults. our breathing rate and children's breathing rate, children's physical activity are more, they require more oxygens, they respire more number of times than the adults. So maximum particulates and pollutants are entered into their lungs, and their lungs development get restricted or damaged and stops. So children are more prone for the damages of air pollutions. And children who live in high ozone areas are more likely to develop asthma. Now, where there is a more traffic, road traffic area, when you live in a more traffic area, they are more likely to develop asthma. Again, one more thing I want to emphasize here, that during lockdown, majority of children are at home. They are literally locked down into the home, and many transportations and industrial activity are ceased. So they are experiencing more healthy air, and you will find they are more healthy and they are growing stronger during the lockdown. If somebody want to check the health of all the students before lockdown, after lockdown, during the lockdown, you will find this remarkable health development, that more children are healthy. Controlling air pollution, these are the some devices through which you can control the air pollutions. A very simple device is an electrostatic precipitator, which is fixed at the opening end of these chimneys. Here, this is electrostatic precipitator, which is charged with electric charge, negative charge, and when the smoke come in contact with this precipitator that electrode, that attracts that carbon particles, and that go drop down. So the releasing through this chimney is only this kind of scene you will see if these chimneys have electrostatic precipitator. Okay, they will release only the gases and not the carbon or particulate matter. So this is a very good concept and device to reduce the smog appearance in a city. To reduce the suspended particle, you can use this electrostatic precipitator. But I don't know why in India industrialists are not using this precipitator. This is very good inventions which quickly control these suspended particle, carbon particles, avoid it to release in a nature, and that leads to the stop of secondary air pollutants. Okay, controlling air pollution in this way also possible. That is a scrubber. Here the smoke stacks with the scrubber. So clean this polluted liquid sludge, this dirty gases, that polluted smoke enter into this scrubber here, and through these different barriers it get travel, and all that particulate matter are trapped here, and the clean gas release out, and that gas convert into the liquid, and liquid come from other side. So you can avoid release of this polluted gas directly into the environment. Particulate matter can also be controlled by proper excavating techniques. Then this release of this gasoline vapors into the environment, one can avoid if we use this kind of a system, the phase one vapor recovery system for gasoline. So this is underground petrol tank. In every petrol pump they have such tanks underground. Now when they refill this underground tank, they use only one pipe to pour that petrol in this tank, and as the tank goes on filling, This empty area contain lot of vapors of that petrol. That petrol vapors are directly released into the atmosphere. But here, how they made the recovery system is they release petrol in this tank, and with another tube they release that gasoline into this tank. So there, this transfer of petrol never come in contact with the air. The petrol get drained into this underground tank, and the vapors are drained into the overhead tank here. But I don't think in India petrol pump owners are using these kind of systems. Okay, so the Clean Air Act has been framed, and there is a legal actions over production of pollutions. But in India, no one bother about these legal systems related with the environmental pollutions. But just for information sake, we will see here. So this authorized EPA to set limits on amount of specific air pollutant permitted. So how much amount of air pollutants are permitted to release into the nature. So focus on six pollutants: lead, particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and ozone. Now see, in 1970, the allowed concentration of carbon monoxide was around 200 million metric tons per year. But as we are advancing towards the more polluted air, now this limit is reduced. If you release more than 80 90 million metric tons per year, then you will be punished. Like this, you will find that day by day our limits, permissible limits of pollutants is reducing. Now, here they have given the urban areas with the worst air quality. Ozone non-attainment area. Now in this slide I have used majority of all this data from the US because I believe that the US government gives more authentic data and more facts, real fact than the fake data and fake fact which we experience in India, because we see that in India many industries are pouring their smoke, polluting the nature, but on paper legally they are very clean, they are not releasing any pollutants. We experience that lot of waste is directly released into the river. Many of us, we take photographs of that sewage release and industrial release into the river. So every authority knows that these industries are making pollutions, but some system we government have developed which gives them clean sheet, and the environmental department gives very healthy data of that industry. They are on a government record that industry is not polluting anything on paper. So if I try to collect data from the Indian environmental pollution department or some in offices, they, I don't believe on that data. It is mostly a fake data they use, and they says on paper that environment in India is very clean. So I have used here a lot of data from the US, which because they gives real data there. So worst air quality area in the US is a extreme worst conditions of air quality is Los Angeles, very severe and severe. Other ways to improve air quality is reduce sulfur content in gasoline from its current average of 330 ppm to 30 ppm. We have to change the car vehicle engines to reduce this sulfur content from the gasolines, then which is not very feasible for the car companies, so they continue with the same. require federal emission standard for all passenger vehicles, which is also not possible in India because of many uh, all that economy is car company driven economy we experience in India. So that include SUVs, trucks, and minivans. Their standards should be changed, and we hope that the new standards of pollution in car vehicles are introduced, and that will reduce the emissions. But the gasoline which we use, if itself is a not clean, then no vehicle and technology can possibly stop the pollution in India. So require emission testing for all the vehicles, including diesel. Now, PUC kind of thing we have in India and how it runs and operated, every one of us knows. Just you have to pay some rupees to that vendor and he will give you a certificate, irrespective of any uh, pollution standard. They directly give you a receipt that your vehicle is very clean by paying some money to that vendor. So again, this thing fails in India. The testing of vehicle for emissions. Ozone depletion in stratosphere. This is a impact of air pollution on our Earth. Now we have a separate topic to discuss with the air pollutions with the label ozone depletion, ozone layer depletion. That is a separate topic we have made for the discussion of this topic. So I skip here. Naturally, this thing you may have heard from the school that there is a depletion of ozone layer. They are forming the holes in a ozone layer. Okay. So we skip this part because we will discuss that in separate lectures. Even again, this acid rain is another topic uh, under this syllabus 3.3 sections air pollution. We have to discuss these acid depositions or acid rain, then ozone depletion separately. So I skip that point also from here. Okay, in short, how acid rain forms. These industries emit sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, and when that come in contact with the water vapors, it forms the sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and nitrous acids, which along with the clouds, when they mix with the rain and drops on the surface, earth surface, that pollutes the water, that makes soil infertile, and that damage the buildings and monument surfaces.